I never miss an opportunity to ask bigger questions. You want to have some fun?
Sure.
Okay, check this out.
Oh, yes.
Recently released.
Yes.
Top secret MJ-12 papers given to Heather Wade from
Yep.
Midnight in the Desert and dispersed immediately across the internet for peer review. You did one of the best investigations into this that I've seen published
Thank
so
you.
far. And so what I want to do, okay, is, I'd like to just point out to the world that this is not a tinfoil hat community. You hit the real hardcore people with something like this, and we're not going to just glob onto it like a bunch of true believers. We're going to figure it out, and if there's BS to call, we're going to call it. So, Linda, what I'm thinking might be fun, I haven't done this in a long time since I was a little kid, but I am going to set part of this document here.
All right.
And while you tell me the results of your investigation, I'm going to see how many paper airplanes I can make.
All right. First, I found, going through, that there are pieces of material in this document that resonate with things that I heard firsthand from residents in Farmington and Aztec 20-some years ago, and that there are pieces of content in here that really are resonating, and they're not anywhere else. So you don't throw out
Well, I don't want to make a paper airplane out of
everything.
anything factual. I have the EBE interview here. Is that paper airplane material?
Let's talk, yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Let's talk about this front page. It was part of the value of putting out two Earth Files reports, taking these very badly printed pages and translating them in clean copy as well as the original. Within 48 hours, I received an email from a man who let me use his real name, Peter Thomas. 26 years he worked for the Navy, and in his work...
And Peter Thomas is a real deal.
He's a real
I mean, this
person.
is a guy who has the credentials.
That's right.
And the things that he revealed to you, I think that's the smoking gun
That's right.
and the non-smoking gun.
And he said that right from the beginning, if you have a real classified in the top secret category, you will not have eyes-only access in rectangles here. The top of the words are Defense Intelligence Agency. He said every legitimate classified document always has the classification. It can be confidential, it can be secret, it can be top secret, it can be variations in numbers and letters. It will always be by rule within the agencies. The top of the page and the bottom of the page will always show you the category that you are in terms of classification. And that there would never be the word classified on any page. It means nothing. And here they put classified, and he said there is no such thing as ultra top secret. I said, well, what about MK Ultra from the 60s, the mind control? We all know it was real.
Sure.
And the Russians were doing it too. He said, no, this is absolutely bogus. He said, you see any cover page on anything that goes ultra top secret in all caps like this, you can just automatically put it into somebody is doing this on purpose for reasons unknown. No dissemination or declassification. He said it would never be here. So you would have whatever the category was, it would be top, Defense Intelligence Agency in the logo, but not any of this. None of this is legitimate. And that the way that this was worded down below, and he said this was so important, he said there is no read and destroy on any legitimate, whether it's secret or top secret. And he gave actually just such a logical reason why. He said none of us have been given permission by the President of the United States or the director of any of the agencies to destroy any paper.
And you'd think that if it was read and destroy, it wouldn't be through so many iterations of copy and fax
It's
machines.
crazy, yeah. So when you start going through this, you begin to realize that at first, some of the content was very interesting. Stanton, Stanton thought the first 10 pages, at least,
might have had some
Yeah.
legitimacy. Sure.
And so here is a wonderful lesson for all of us. You get something, and you can put it out. You can put it out on Earth Files or talk about it on the radio or TV. But you say, and now what we want, we want people who have worked in agencies on documents to let us know, is there anything about this that is a legitimate layout? Because what we're talking about here is on the very first line of the problem, is that there are no real documents in the history of the United States that would ever have this
now,
format.
wouldn't somebody, obviously if this was a disinformation project, they would have made a little better job at making the documents look real.
Why is this so blatant?
I took my own time in analyzing the document, and I figured out what it would actually take as a graphic artist to copy that, and it wasn't going to be nearly as difficult as you think. Most of the writing is gleaned from pretty easy sources. Put it in. There's a few techniques to make the documents look the way they had. In fact, a lot of the waviness in the paper and the blotchy ink and stuff that's meant to look like it's been faxed and copied multiple times could very easily be done on purpose.
Well, in fact, let me tell you that on this page, I believe it's 2.
I'm glad I
This is
pulled that
another
one
thing
up
for
yet.
everybody. It's simple to remember. In the areas that would have been the source, contributor, down here, distinction on the dissemination on the staff and so forth. He said, you will never find in any legitimate document the word classified, just that, stamped, of any source. He said, remember, these are supposed to be documents in which you have sophisticated people inside of agencies, and they are supposed to be using this to communicate. They're not going to have classified written in any category. You see that? It's automatic. Put this over in somebody's manipulation. And so what he's doing is providing us with a guidance that there are certain things that are never going to happen in any legitimate document, and you're not going to have classified as was stamped from the source. And another very important thing, these people, or whoever did this, they knew that in the real world of top secret and classified, you will have a number on every page of a document. You will. This is a number that they know exactly who got the document. Mm-hmm. They track the number, and when you have to bring back the document or they will send security after you.
Sure.
And he said, when you bring in a document that has 47 pages, and this is its assigned number, you will have had a yellow piece of paper that you had to sign your name, your employee number, the date, all this stuff, and it is held as this person has this document. When you bring it back in, you sign off. They then give you a copy of your sign off. And the document then ceases to have your responsibility anymore. And that's how they keep this. It's a constant recycle. He said this number throughout these pages didn't make any sense to him either because of the way it was stamped, and it said agency report number. He said that is not what happens in documents. And for people who want to see his own email to me laying out everything that he found as a professional, go to Earth Files and read.
Earthfiles.com, it's right there.
Yeah, it's fraud document leak. And he went the next mile. He lives in an area in Virginia where his next door neighbor or somewhere is currently working, alphabet soup, working in counter intel. Said he's one of the best men on documents that he knows.
And he took it to him.
He took it to him. He said he spent a couple hours. The guy went through everything, and this was the most interesting comment, because I can't reveal this other person. No argument about an alien presence.
That's where
the documents layout, amateurish, a mess.
Shoddy, bad work. I know, that's pretty funny. Okay, so I managed to do, I think, 9 or 10. If anybody wants to take up the paper airplane. So we're going to
This was a
temporarily
great
close the book
exercise for all
on
of
this.
us to go
It was, because it only took us, it's almost as, we almost got to the bottom of it as fast as Mummygate. Okay, so it just shows that most of the people in the field are really, you know, we're not just going to believe anything that comes by.
And this is a great exercise that this happened, Ron, because it made a new focus on what are legitimate history, 30-year, 40-year, 50-year history in the Navy of how you handle confidential, secret, and top secret. None of us ever had anybody willing to say, here are the problems, here is how it's done. This brought that home through Peter Thomas.
See, here's what I love the most about this. You know, it's like we want to believe, but we can't. But from the fake smoking gun comes what I consider almost a complete smoking gun, because you got somebody of very high rank and stature to come out and pretty much state unequivocally that yes, there's an alien presence.
Yes.
So let's talk about who
Yes.
looked at these papers and then what they told you after they debunked the papers themselves.
The first sentence that really impressed me from Peter Thomas was he said, Linda, the government has been all over UFOs and ETs since World War II. And it's true. But at the same time, there was this, it was Truman, and in his secret executive order, policy of denial in all directions.